What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got a few NASCAR stories to discuss here today. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. So we're going to start off with Motorsports Games. Motorsports Games will be dropping the NASCAR Heat name of the NASCAR video game franchise in 2021. They will start fresh with a new title as part of a start-from-scratch rebuild of the game software per CEO Dmitry Kozko. Kozko also said that he's also in talks with IndyCar about building a new game. Not surprised that they are dropping the name to NASCAR Heat. I think a lot of people feel like that the NASCAR Heat franchise has kind of been hurt because the game's kind of been stale. This last game they released was not as good as previous ones, but we knew that this was the last game of the engine, so they're rebuilding from scratch. New engine, basically new company, pretty much taking over. But what I'm really excited about is the possibility that an IndyCar game might be around the corner. You know the last time we had an IndyCar game? 2005. 2005 was the last time an IndyCar game was released. Can't remember which company made that game. But IndyCar has not made a game in nearly 15 years. And the fact that Motorsports Games, which is now the main company that is running NASCAR franchise as well, they are possibly building an IndyCar game. Man, the future of this company is looking very bright. And I'm glad they made a decision to get Heat off their name. I'm assuming the next game is probably going to be called NASCAR 21. That's what I'm assuming it's going to be. But we will have to find out. But man, this is really exciting to see. And I'm very happy that this decision has come around the corner. On to the next story. And this one's going to be a little interesting. Several teams are advocating for NASCAR to schedule a significant number of next year's Cup races as one-day shows, given the continued uncertainty and financial issues from COVID-19. Industry stakeholders would need to agree to the move, which is like the representatives of the tracks and the team owners. This, in my opinion, is a very interesting discussion because I can see both sides, because you got people on one side saying, oh, that this is not a good move. You got other people saying this would be a great move. I'm kind of neutral in the situation, and I can see where both sides are coming from. I like the idea. I do personally like the idea of one-day shows itself at certain races. I don't want to see one-day shows altogether. But here's how I would incorporate one-day shows into NASCAR races if this does become a reality. I think you need to have one practice session early in the morning, qualifying and right before the Cup race, a couple hours for the Cup race, and then you have the Cup race, maybe the Xfinity Series race as well. Basically, it saves these teams a lot of money, and this would be a good move right there. But I also can understand where the other side is coming from, to where you won't get the fan experience, you won't be able to go inside. Yeah, right now there isn't as many people are allowed to have hot passes. In fact, no one is allowed in the garage currently moment due to COVID-19. I would like to see one-day shows be a thing at certain races. Maybe if they do have any midweek races, we see something like this. I don't want to see it at every single race, but certain races, I definitely would like to see one-day shows in a certain fashion if you have practice, qualifying, and the race. I think you need to have all three of those. If you don't include practice and qualifying, I think that is a really, really bad decision. Now on to the next story, and this is really cool news. Julio Castroneves is going to be joining the SRX in 2021. He becomes the 5th driver to join the SRX. Welcome, Julio Castroneves. I've been a huge supporter for Julio Castroneves for a long time. Throughout his IndyCar days, he's one of my top 2 or 3 favorite IndyCar drivers. When he raced in his series, one of the legends, one of the best ever IndyCar. And no surprise that Tony Stewart decided to choose him. And we'll have to see how he does. I'm very excited to see what Julio Castroneves can bring to the table for the SRX. Now we get into the next story, and some of you will not like the scheme, but Jimmie Johnson's throwback scheme was revealed earlier today and is honoring Jimmie Johnson, who is a guy driving the car, Dale Earnhardt, and Richard Petty. And in my opinion, I am a huge fan of this scheme you're seeing on the screen. I think it honors the drivers very, very well. You got the Petty blue on the car, you got the Dale Earnhardt black in the car, and you got the 48 car as the main centerpiece of the car. I really love this throwback scheme. Honestly, I know a lot of people have not liked the scheme, and again, I can understand why. I think the person who did leak the scheme last night on Twitter, if you were on Twitter last night, that person should not have leaked it. If this scheme was leaked today or earlier today and was presented by Hendrick, I feel like a lot more people would have been excited for this game and we wouldn't have seen as much backlash toward this game. But in my personal opinion, I am a major fan of this paint scheme. I think it complements all three drivers very well. Like I mentioned, the Petty Blue, Earnhardt Black, and Jimmie Johnson. I think it does a very good job complementing all three people. I know a lot of people don't like the scheme, and I can understand why. Because again, some people don't like just all the colors around it. But personally, in my opinion, I am a huge fan of this paint scheme. And now we get into the final story of this episode. Kyle Larson. We're going to talk about him a little bit more. Tony Stewart was on a radio show earlier today on Sirius XM's NASCAR radio with Daniel Trotta and I believe Pete Pistone, if I'm not mistaken. And he had this comment say, I'm not going to read the whole excerpt. I'm going to read a certain comment that Tony Stewart did say on the show. NASCAR has got to get off their ass and do the right thing and give this kid an opportunity to get back in a car. I think he's paid his dues long enough where, we've had similar instances in the sport that have happened and the penalties didn't last as near as long as this has lasted with Kyle. Here's my thought on this. Abso-freaking-lutely, I agree with Tony Stewart on this. I think it's ridiculous that Kyle Larson has not been reinstated at this point in NASCAR. I think he's paid his dues long enough. The guy can drive the wheels off the car. And right now, I do feel like Kyle Larson probably will be back in the Cup Series next year or in the Xfinity Series. Who really knows? Here's where I see Kyle Larson going if he is officially reinstated, which they are currently working on getting him reinstated at the moment by Mulder Cheeks and Bob Pockrass. It looks like they're trying to reinstate him. They've approached him. Kyle says no. I really don't know what's going on there. But I feel like Kyle Larson should be back in the Cup Series, in my honest opinion. I think he deserves to be in the Cup Series. Many people would agree, be honest. Every driver deserves a second chance. Here's a saying that I would like to say as well. There's a saying that goes around that says, this instance should be forgiven for Kyle Larson, but not forgotten. I don't think we should forget this instance, but I think we should forgive the instance of what Kyle Larson did. Because Kyle Larson made a very idiotic and stupid mistake, but even in his interview, he said that it was ignorant what he did. He was wrong. He's been doing a lot of good things for this community. Kyle Larson went out and supported a charity when actually was at George Floyd's funeral, as far as I'm aware. So in my opinion, I think Kyle Larson deserves a second chance. Now the question is, what car should Kyle Larson drive? Honestly, there's two opportunities right now, but most likely it's a 1498. Right now, I feel like Kyle Larson is going to end up driving the 14 next year. Now, people are saying, where is he going to get the sponsorship from? One sponsor I look at is Plan B Sales. Plan B Sales has supported Kyle Larson. They forgive him immediately, and they have sponsored Cup cars. I feel like Plan B Sales could help there. Another company that people tend to forget is Rush Truck Centers. Rush Truck Centers actually is part owned by Tony Stewart. So there's some races right there that Kyle Larson could end up getting to drive the number 14 car. And then, of course, Gene Haas owns the team as well. Again, Gene would have to agree on signing, which Gene would most likely definitely agree. I think this would be more of a Tony Stewart situation as well, because Tony really wants Larson back in. And there's no surprise there. I mean, he was in Tony Stewart's suite. In my opinion, Kyle Larson is going to be back in NASCAR next year, full-time in the Cup Series. And I think that he will show why he should still be in the Cup Series, even after a situation. I mean, he did say the N-word. We all know that. It was a bad word he said. But I think that Kyle Larson has earned the respect and earned my forgiveness. And I think you all should forgive him. If you're not forgiving Kyle Larson at this point, I really don't know what you're doing. But I do really want to see Kyle Larson get a second chance. He's been tearing it up in the Dirt Series. And Kyle Larson, in my opinion, deserves a second chance in the sport, in the 14 car. I want to see him back as early as next year. And I do believe that he will be driving as Stewart-Haas in 2021. I do not see him going to another organization. And I really am excited to see him probably come back next year. And then the question is, what about Chase Briscoe and what about Clint Bowyer? I feel like Clint Bowyer is going to be out of the ride this year. I feel like Clint Bowyer is going to end up retiring at the end of this year and go up in the booth. I don't see him racing Bash 2020. I know he wants to return to SHR, but if you saw by the tone of the interview he had with Bob Pockrass, it doesn't sound very confident he is going to be returning to SHR. But we'll find out what's going to happen there. And Chase Briscoe is the other driver I feel That's the only driver I feel like could maybe replace drive that 14 car. But in my opinion, I think Chase Briscoe is going to end up driving the number 32 car next year. And I think Corey LaJoie is going to end up driving the 37 car due to his letter to Hendrick Motorsports. And that is a Hendrick affiliated car. So we'll have to see what happens for the 2021 season. But in my honest opinion, Kyle Larson will be returning to NASCAR in the number 14 car. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on so you get notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links description below for that. And comment below your thoughts on today's video. What do you think about Kyle Larson possibly coming back to NASCAR? Do you think he deserves a second chance? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about Jimmie Johnson's paint scheme? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts on one-day shows? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.